Welcome back, and after rook a to d1 with white's plan of placing a rook lift to f3 to attack f6, black has only literally one move. He plays d6 trying to develop the last two pieces. Seems like a logical plan. White just gets on with his plan and plays rook to d3. Black plays bishop to d7 developing the piece, and then white finishes his plan with rook to f3, and now there are three pieces attacking f6, the knight, the bishop and the rook. White's pieces are well coordinated for the attack, but black does not give up. He plays bishop to b5 attacking the f1 rook and trying to complicate matters, which is the correct thing to do. Black does not want to be defending all game, so throws in a little attack of his own. However, white superbly counterattacks with bishop to c3 attacking the queen and forcing it to move to d8. Moving the queen here seems to protect the f6 pawn, however it doesn't. White smashes in with knight takes f6, and now there are major complications. White simply ignores the bishop on b5 and maintains his own attack. After this move, black played bishop to e2, however there are some other alternatives. Bishop takes f1 for example falls foul to knight g4 check, where black is in a lot of trouble. After king g8, bishop takes e6, is game over for black, as knight h6 is coming in, and black is losing a lot of material and getting mated. I was thinking rook takes f6 would just simply help black by trading off everything, however it doesn't simply work like that. Rybka gives rook to d1 attacking the d6 pawn, which is now unprotectable. The f6 rook is still pinned, and after bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, rook takes f6, king takes f6, rook d6 check, and say king e5, rook to d2, and king takes and bishop takes. White is just simply 2 pawns up, and Rybka gives this as a win for white. So back to the game, and instead of swapping off, black plays bishop to e2. Now the threat isn't obvious, but what black wants to do is actually take on f3, where white's attack will not be as strong. But black clearly missed a strong tactic by white, an incredible move. Knight takes h7, check, the bishop checks the king. Now then, if king takes h7, rook f7 check, king h6, the bishop can just take the rook on e6. And now white's pieces will just nicely coordinate to mate the black king. For instance, if black takes on f1, bishop to d2 check, g5, white can play bishop to f5, threatening rook to h7, checkmate. So now black has to defend with the queen. For instance, queen g8, rook f6 check, king h5, g4, king h4, rook h6 is checkmate. Or if queen h8, h4 is just a really strong move. So instead of taking the knight, black played king to g8, getting out of the check from the bishop. Here white wanted to keep the f3 rook and found a devastating plan. Nezhmetdinov played rook to h3 and threatens rook to h8 mate after knight g5. So black cannot simply take on f1 because knight g5 follows and there is a devastating attack. Chernikov realised that the bishop on c3 is just too powerful, so the only logical thing to do in this position, he played rook to e5, which blocks off the c3 bishop and tries to nullify it. It could be argued that the bishop on c3 is the best piece on the board. White does not want to take that bishop off for the rook. The rook is much worse. That rook is just a stranded passenger. So Nezhmetdinov calmly deals with it by playing f4, not even caring about the bishop on e2. So Chernikov takes an f1, and Nezhmetdinov recaptures with the king. And here we'll look at the 4 pieces that Nezhmetdinov has left. Look how they collaborate together. Those 2 bishops on ideal squares raking down the board, and the knight ready to come into g8. The rook on e5 is pinned, and the rook on a8 is just absolutely doing nothing. Black's pieces are not coordinated well at all. That's why Chernikov plays rook to c8. He's eyeing up the bishop on c3, the so-called best piece on the board. Nezhmetdinov really doesn't want that terrible rook to take his best piece off. That is why he moves it to d4. He just places it calmly away from the danger and maintains it. Now here black tries to build some counterplay with b5. Here comes a major threat from Nezhmetdinov. Knight to g5. I've placed so many arrows on the board, it is ridiculous. Look how many attacks there are. The knight on g5 and bishop on b3 gang up on the f7 pawn, whilst the bishop on d4 and rook on h3 also gang up on the h8 square. Black has some serious defending to do. I love this game because it shows, even without a queen, the attacking potential of the minority pieces. So Chernikov plays the only logical move, rook to c7 to protect the f7 pawn. It looks defended, right? But no. Nezhmetdinov crashes in with bishop takes f7, just relentless. It's just a brilliant move. The sheer collaboration of all the pieces finally tells, and black is now in a terrible position. If black moves and plays king f8 in this position, rook h8 check, king e7, and now f takes e5, rook takes queen, king takes queen, knight e6 check. The king and rook are forked, and white is just going to have two bishops up. Chernikov actually had to recapture the bishop with the rook. But can you see the nice little tactic? If you saw rook h8 check, well done. Now the rook and knight collaborate again together. After Chernikov takes the rook on h8, knight takes f7 check follows with a family fork, where the king on h8, queen on d8, rook on e5 are all attacked, and as soon as the king moves, the knight took on d8. Perhaps Chernikov fancied his ending with rook takes e4, but after knight c6, rook takes f4, king e2, black decided to call it a day. White has two pieces for the rook and is a pawn up. Clearly this was a masterclass in the collaboration of pieces and a true testament to Nezhmetdinov's imagination and attacking chess ability.